While Europe was busily engaged in internal strife in the early 17th century, bands of seasoned pirates from North Africa used this opportunity to set sail under an Islamic flag on a long voyage into the North Atlantic. Sailing past the coasts of Western Europe, they headed for the islands of Ireland, the Faroese, and Iceland.
This is the extreme point reached in the Islamic expansion into Europe.
Attacking and pillaging unsuspecting communities, the raiders made off with anything of value, as well as taking prisoners whom they sold into slavery and demanded high ransom for their release. Many of the captives were converted to Islam, but a fair number would in time regain their freedom and manage after great hardship to find their way back to their homelands.
This is called the maritime jihad. This is a jihad, and the jihad is a holy war for the faith.
This is a highly political story, but it is also a personal one, of individuals whose names we know. We have no pictures of most of them, so we must borrow their faces from the rich gallery of 17th century portraits. We also relate in word and image the story of the many local tales relating these remarkable events. This is very much a living history in the regions where they happened. At the same time, this is the untold story of an Islamic jihad deep into Europe, of Europeans captured and sold into slavery in Islamic Africa, at a time when Europeans were beginning to sell Africans as slaves to America. We listen to the accounts of local people, and we dig deep in the archives so as to unravel an incredible but true story which has never fully been told before. On the 20th day of the month of June 1627, there came sailing from the south to the tiny settlement known as Grindavik in Iceland, one Turkish warship. These are the opening words of a contemporary report. The raiders concealed their identity, pretending to be German whalers blown off course, and managed to take prisoner 8 men who had rowed out to their vessel. They then captured the Danish merchant vessel in the harbor, all without a single shot being fired. The raiders then made their way to a neighboring farm, where they captured the entire family. Then a neighboring relative appeared and attempted to come to their aid. His name was Hjalmar, and he is the celebrated hero in this, our story. His praise is sung in a poem composed in Latin, detailing his exploits and read here on the battle's very site.
Tergit in armatos set solus, robore Hjalmar, inclitus adquanimo, lauda butroque pari. Quam victor, campo, cede potitus erat, tum prim ex sanguis per plurima vulnerabacto, hoste, sed invicto, pectore prociterat.
The earth was stained with blood, and according to a local legend, where Christian and heathen blood blended, a rare type of thistle grew. Today this thistle is still to be found at a particular spot in the little fishing village of Grindavik on Iceland's southwest coast. With the booty from Grindavik, the raiders now headed for Bessastaðir, the seat of power in Iceland. Today it is the presidential residence, but in 1627 it was home to the Danish Governor-General. At this time, Iceland was ruled by the Danish king. The country's official emblem was an unusual but yet appropriate combination of a fish and a royal crown. At Bessastaðir there was practically no defense, except for a light cannon or two, so the governor ordered nearby merchant ships to immediately join him. He then improvised a defense wall made of stockfish and covered with turf. He and his party rode out in saddles with brass inlays, pikes in their hands. As the sun reflected off their saddles, they had the appearance of a whole army of defenders. Cannon fire was exchanged, and during the clash, one of the raiding ships ran aground on a skerry. Some Icelanders now considered this to be an opportune moment to attack the raiders and free the captives.
Til að gera áhlaup hér að sönduðu skipi þarf að manna opna árabáta og róa nokkur 100 metra gegn skotrið og ólíklegt að nokkur maður kæmist þangað lifandi. Svo jafnvel nú á dögum með allan þann útbúnað sem víkingasveitir hafi verið að búa ekki útlit fyrir að hægt hefði verið að gera neitt til að frelsa þessa fanga.
And so the captives were not freed. But the situation did force the Turks to turn tail and disappear. For the moment, all was quiet in Iceland. However, no one knew whether this was merely a brief intermission before the next onslaught. On Thursday, July the 6th, people at a trading station on the eastern coast of Iceland were totally unsuspecting when early in the morning a mysterious ship dropped anchor in the bay. Upon coming ashore, its crew captured the local Danish traders who were still fast asleep. Next, they hunted down the local population. The raiders split up, with one group heading for a large nearby farm where they took 20 people prisoner. Another group went to the vicarage, capturing the minister, his wife, and 9 others. They herded these people all the way to the inner end of the fjord, where they left those who could go no further, bound hand and foot, and drove the others out along the northern shore. Several bands of raiders moved from one farm to another, taking people from each in turn, householders, children, farmhands and beggars, and killing the old and infirm.
Ópin ráku höfnum að, höfðu þá drepið 9, til hafs úr byggðum hröktu á stað, 100 fólks og 10.
The raiders were called Turks at the time and have been ever since. Throughout Europe in former centuries, the term Turk sometimes signified warriors of the Turkish Empire, but most often it implied any follower of Islam.
Ja, in der frühen Neuzeit hat man natürlich keineswegs nationale Kategorien, wie sie dann im 19. Jahrhundert oder im 20. Jahrhundert auftauchen, mit so einem Wort wie Türken verbunden, sondern Türke war alles, was aus dem Orient kam.
As time passed, Icelanders would begin to view the story of the raid in a new and heroic light, giving it a wholly new interpretation.
Sagan segir að Tyrkir hafi náð smala frá Snæhvammi, sem hér nokkrum kilometrum innar bæ, og færðu hann í bönd, og þetta hefur verið í góðu veðri vafalaust því að hann síðan leggjaði sig til hvíldar og sofna, en ekki hafa þeir nú gengið betur frá smalanum með það að honum tekst að losa böndin, og hann hefur verið kjarkmaður góður því að hann ekkert að leggja á flótta strax. Hann sér í hendi sér að nú þurfa hann að gera Tyrkjum skráveiðu, og hann byrjar á því að míga í púðrið í byssuna þeirra. Síðan tekur hann á rás inn í Snæhvam. Snæhvamsmenn fari í Þverhamar og safna liði. Þá voru hetjur á hverjum bæ og héldu hér út í Hrútasúlnagili, og þá eru Tyrkir að vakna af miðdegislúrnum. Grípa þegar til byssanna en þær virka ekki. Og þá hófu þeir áhlaup á mennina, þeir Þverhamarsmenn og Snæhvamsmenn, og þeir